Hey, Dan here, and as you can see, we're still in Portugal. The state of emergency has continued and all tourist visas have been extended. So here we are. This video is for ENFJs, and we're going to look at two things that are very much related actually. ENFJs and anxiety, and ENFJs and pursuing their dreams and going after something bigger. A few weeks ago, I had a coaching call with an ENFJ, and as so often happens, what started out as a simple help me figure out my next career move became a discussion around her real dreams and what she really wanted to do. And by the end of the call, it went really well. It was a wonderful call, and we got to the core of what she really wanted to do. Not the next career goal, but a deep passion and something that would be really exciting to do. But then after that, when you're talking to an ENFJ, you've got to look at the next thing, which is around anxiety and around overcoming fear and actually taking that step. Now, I'm lucky enough to be dating an ENFJ. I'm an ENFP myself, and to see the differences in how we pursue goals and how we do something that is really scary, right? So as an ENFP, I'm just going to jump into things and say, hey, I want to do this. Cool, I'm doing it. Hey, it's done. Or maybe not done, as so often happens. But either way, the time between when I think of something I want to do and when I'm doing it is somewhere between 3 seconds and about 14 minutes. Somewhere in that phase is when I think of it and then do it. It's going to be very different as an ENFJ, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. You see, as an ENFP, I'm going to jump into something and then figure out all the details along the way, maybe hit my head against a few walls, have some roadblocks, but eventually I'll get it figured out. Whereas an ENFJ, you're going to want to think it through a lot more, have all the information, have the plan, and then when you do it, in theory, it should all go a lot smoother. And so one of the reasons that ENFJs can experience more anxiety when thinking about a big goal or dream is that you're thinking about all the details and all the things that are going to be involved with it. Because you like to have all the information, because you like to figure out those details, you need to know them all before you start, and that causes a lot of anxiety. The second reason is you have very high standards. Again, trust me, I live with one of you. You have very high standards. So what that means is when you're looking at what you need to do, you're not just looking at generally like, hey, I want to start a garden center. You're like, hey, I want to start the perfect garden center with all the best plants in the entire world, and it needs to be absolutely perfect and aesthetically must be wonderful and every detail must be done, and we got to make sure to fill out all the forms in advance and not break any rules and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you've created a massive dream for yourself, right? You've created something that is so big, of course you're going to feel anxiety because your expectations of yourself and this dream are so huge, it's only natural. Anxiety serves a purpose. It has a very natural function, which is to tell us, hey dude, you got stuff you got to do, so get ready so you can do it, right? It's telling you to be ready for something. That's its purpose. And the way you deal with anxiety is to tell your unconscious, yeah, don't worry, I'm ready, I got this covered. And that will ultimately eliminate the anxiety if your anxiety systems are functioning in a healthy way. There are times when they get out of whack, and that's a whole nother conversation, maybe for a different video on that. But if your anxiety systems are functioning in a healthy way, you need to address the issue that your anxiety is bringing up, and then it should go away. So there's two ways you can do this. Number one is you do all the things you need to do to make that happen. So let's say you have a vacation coming up, and we're dreaming a little bit here, okay? In the perfect world, you're allowed to take vacations, and you have one coming up, and you're feeling anxious because you have so much you want to do. You have this trip in mind, and it's a 14-day trip, and like a proper American, every day you're going to a new city, you're jumping around Europe, you're going to all these different things, right? You want to see all the sights and pack in the most you possibly can. Well, you might be feeling some anxiety because your trip's coming up in a month and you haven't made all these bookings, and it's really important to you to have the perfect trip and that all these details need to be involved. And if you don't see one of these things, then you're going to be disappointed. And therefore, it's really important you do all that work, and that's why you're feeling anxious, because your unconscious is saying, hey, make sure you plan this. You said you want to do all these things, and you also said to yourself, if you don't plan it perfectly, it will suck. It will be a disaster. I will be unhappy or disappointed, right? Something like that maybe sounds familiar. So you've created this message to your unconscious saying, I need to have things perfect, and if it's not perfect, then it's going to suck and there's going to be a problem. Well, one option is to make sure it's perfect. But there's another option, and we're going to call this take a lesson from an ENFP option. Another option is to say to yourself, hey, remember that vacation I took a few years ago where we didn't plan everything and it wasn't that organized? That was still actually really fun. In fact, it was one of the most fun trips. And so, yeah, I still want to plan this vacation and I want to do all those things, but if I don't, then it's not going to be the end of the world, because I know that if I'm going on a trip with my best friend, that no matter what we do, it's going to be fun, we're going to have a great time, and everyone's going to be happy. So you've changed your expectations now. Now you're telling your unconscious that I still have really high standards, but if we don't meet them, it's still going to be pretty good. Maybe it would be a 10, and if we don't meet it, it will be an 8. So you're going to have a lot less anxiety in that way, right? And there's another way that you can deal with it along those same lines, is maybe you do actually adjust your standards. This happens with friends and family with ENFJs a lot, because as an ENFJ, you are very concerned with being an amazing person to everyone you know. So you might do things like send people postcards, remember birthdays, make sure everyone is really happy when you have an event. Perhaps you're throwing a party, right? And I've thrown many parties with my ENFJ girlfriend. In fact, we throw a party every year in Prague, the annual Halloween party, and we have some different approaches to it. If you are very concerned with all the details and you want to make sure that everyone to your party is happy and they have the exact drink they want, so you're writing everyone, hey, do you like cocktails? Hey, do you like wine? Do you like beer? Okay, and what kind of food do you like? You're following this very high expectation you have for yourself and for relationships, which is that people have to be extremely happy or they will be disappointed in you or they will be unhappy with you. And because of that, you have these standards, and that's what's causing the anxiety, because realistically, there is a lot to do if you want to throw this perfect party. Whereas in my case, I'm like, hey, I'm letting you guys come over and potentially trash my house on Halloween. I'm going to throw a bunch of beer and wine in the center of a table. We'll have some food made, and I'm going to tell some crazy stories and do my best to make sure everyone has a good time. And if the odd person doesn't, screw them. They don't have to come back next year. How much anxiety do I feel leading up to the Halloween party? Not nearly as much. Now, am I saying that as an ENFJ, you should just totally forget what people think about you? Absolutely not. We both know that's completely impossible. What I'm trying to say is the reason you feel so much nervousness is you've created very high standards for yourself, and probably you've told yourself if you don't meet those standards, something bad will happen. Perhaps interpersonally, and as an ENFJ, your relationships are really important to you. So if you tell yourself relationships have to be perfect, and if they're not, it's going to be really bad and people won't like me. Well, it's natural, it's very logical that you will then feel anxious. And so if you want to deal with that anxiety, you need to either change your standards or change your expectations, or do all those things that you think you need to do to reach those standards. And so if we swing that around to going after a bigger dream, if there's something you really want to do, maybe check in with that. Have you set really high standards for it? Perhaps you've made the initial dream so ridiculous, it's overwhelming all the things you would need to do. Perhaps there's some baby steps you could take, and instead of wanting to run for president, maybe look at city council first. Look at something perhaps a little smaller that won't be as intimidating. And that's going to allow you to pursue it and make progress without feeling quite as nervous, because you won't have so many things to deal with. In the comments, let me know, what is your personality type, and is this something you've experienced yourself when it comes to anxiety or nervousness? Let me know in the comments below. My name is Dan. This is Dreams Around the World. I publish new videos each and every week. And my mission is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. So please hit that like button. Perhaps share this video with an ENFJ friend you think might benefit, and I'll catch you in the next video soon.